Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're giving and giving, doing everything to make things work, and yet they still hurt you? Or maybe you felt like you've been taken for granted, and no matter what you do, it just never seems to be enough. Well, I've got news for you. What if I told you that the real power lies not in chasing after them or pleading for their attention, but in something so simple, so strategic, that it will leave them shocked? I'm talking about using the power of saying no at the right time. Yes, I said it. You don't have to beg. You don't have to chase. You just need to make one smart move that changes the game completely. Stick around, because I'm about to show you how you can take control, make them feel the loss, and have them begging for you. Trust me, once you know how to play this smart, you'll never go back to the old ways of begging for their attention. You're about to take the driver's seat in this relationship, and it starts right now. So don't go anywhere. This is the game changer you've been waiting for. The power of saying no is one of the most underrated tools in any relationship. It's not just about rejecting someone or refusing to meet their expectations. It's about protecting yourself, setting boundaries, and showing that you have self-respect. When you say no, you're asserting your value. You're telling the other person that you are not easily swayed, that you won't just settle for anything less than what you deserve. In relationships, whether they are romantic, friendships, or even professional connections, saying no at the right time can shift the entire dynamic. It can stop someone from taking you for granted, and more importantly, it forces them to evaluate their actions and the space you occupy in their life. The first thing you need to realize is that no isn't a rejection of the person, it's a statement of your own worth. When you constantly say yes, when you always make yourself available, when you continue to give without receiving the same energy in return, you're sending the message that your time and your emotional energy have no value. It's almost like you're telling them, I'm always here, no matter what. But here's the truth. People don't value what they don't have to work for. When you constantly give, they start to expect it, and eventually they stop appreciating it. They stop putting in the effort because they know you'll always be there. So when you say no, you stop that cycle. You stop being the person who is always available to please everyone else while ignoring your own needs. You take control of the situation. This doesn't mean you become selfish or unkind. It simply means you're no longer putting yourself last. You are teaching the other person that your time, energy, and love are valuable. You're setting a standard for how you expect to be treated. And if they want to stay in your life, they'll need to step up to show that they can meet your needs and respect your boundaries. In relationships where you've been hurt, saying no is also a form of protection. It's not about playing games or punishing someone. It's about taking a step back and giving yourself the space you need to evaluate the situation. When someone continuously hurts you, whether through words or actions, saying no creates a moment of distance. This distance gives you time to process, to understand your emotions, and to decide whether this relationship is truly worth your energy. It prevents you from reacting out of hurt or frustration, which is often the first impulse when you feel mistreated. Instead of reacting impulsively, you assert control by stepping back and showing that you won't tolerate behavior that doesn't align with your self-worth. Another key part of the power of saying no is that it forces the other person to deal with the consequences of their actions. People often take others for granted when they believe they can always get what they want. They think they can treat you however they like because they know you will always be there to forgive them or to give them another chance. But when you say no, when you step back and stop enabling their behavior, You leave them with no other option but to face the reality of what they've lost. This can be a wake-up call for them, one that forces them to reflect on their behavior and realize the value you bring to their life. It's not about making them suffer, but about making them truly feel the impact of their actions. When you say no and create space, you're giving them an opportunity to miss you, to regret taking you for granted, and to truly understand the importance of your presence in their life. You've stopped giving them the easy way out. Now, they have to put in effort, they have to chase after you, and they have to prove they are worthy of your time and attention. And let me tell you, people who are used to having everything handed to them don't handle this well. They begin to feel the loss, they start to question their behavior, and they start to scramble to make things right. This is when you know you've made a powerful move. Saying no with confidence also strengthens your sense of self-worth. You're no longer dependent on the other person for validation. You're telling them that you're complete on your own, that you don't need them to feel good about yourself. This confidence is magnetic. It's something that will make them think twice about taking you for granted, and it will make them respect you in a way they never did before. In fact, it's one of the most attractive things you can do. People are drawn to those who have strong boundaries, who know their worth, and who aren't afraid to walk away when they are not being treated right. In conclusion, saying no is not about rejecting someone for the sake of it. It's about protecting yourself, setting boundaries, and demanding the respect you deserve. It's a powerful tool that shifts the balance of power in any relationship. When you say no, you stop the cycle of being taken for granted, and you force the other person to see your value. By doing this, you not only protect your own emotional well-being, but you also teach others how to treat you. When you take control, you show them that they have to work for your time and attention. And that, my friend, is one of the smartest moves you can make. When you make the decision to assert yourself and say, no, you're not just protecting your own emotional well-being, you're teaching the other person a very important lesson. People tend to take others for granted when they know they can get away with it. They know that no matter what happens, you'll always forgive them, always be available for them, and always be there to pick up the pieces. But here's the reality. When you allow this pattern to continue, you end up sacrificing your own happiness and peace for the sake of someone else's comfort. Saying no is your way of taking back your power, of making it clear that your feelings matter just as much as theirs. The most powerful thing you can do when someone has hurt you is to step back. Put your boundaries in place and stop giving them the chance to treat you poorly. By saying no to the behavior that hurt you, you're making a clear statement about what you will and will not accept in the relationship. The message is simple. I deserve better, and I won't let you treat me like this anymore. This isn't about making a dramatic point or punishing the other person. It's about protecting your peace, valuing your time, and ensuring that you are treated with the respect you deserve. When you begin to set boundaries, something interesting happens. The other person starts to notice. They begin to realize that their behavior is no longer having the same effect on you. The things they took for granted, your availability, your forgiveness, your attention, are no longer guaranteed. And that's when the power shifts. They are forced to look inward and evaluate the relationship. They start to question their actions and the impact they've had on you. This self-reflection is key to making them understand the weight of their mistakes. One of the most profound effects of saying no is that it gives the other person space to feel the loss of your presence. When you're always there, when you're always willing to make excuses for them, they don't have to feel the emotional consequence of their actions. They might apologize, but they never truly understand what their behavior has cost them. By stepping back, by saying no to their requests or dismissing the way they've treated you, you create the space for them to miss you. They will begin to see the emptiness of their actions, the void that you once filled, and that will force them to reconsider how they treat you. But here's the catch. This isn't about playing games or manipulating someone's emotions. This isn't about getting revenge or making them feel guilty. It's about creating a healthy distance so they can come to the realization on their own. They need to see that you are not going to stick around and tolerate being treated poorly. If they care about you, if they value your presence in their life, they will eventually come to see that they've lost something important. This is the moment when you've gained the upper hand, not by demanding it, but by simply stepping back and letting them face the consequences of their actions. What happens next is something truly powerful. They start to chase you. They start to recognize that you're not someone they can take for granted, and they begin to feel the sting of losing you. They will start to work harder to regain your trust and your affection. The tables have turned. You've made them realize that they have to earn your respect and your love, just as you have been doing for them all along. And when they start to chase you, when they start to put in the effort to win you back, that's when you'll know that your decision to say no was the smartest move you could have made. This doesn't mean you give in the moment they come back with apologies or promises. No, your boundaries are now non-negotiable. They need to show real change, not just say the right words. Saying no teaches them that actions speak louder than words. You are no longer the person they can take for granted. You're a person who knows their worth and is not afraid to walk away if that worth is not being honored. Another important aspect of saying no is that it helps you regain control over your emotional state. When you've been hurt, it's easy to get caught up in the cycle of trying to fix things, of constantly making excuses for the other person, of tolerating behavior that doesn't sit right with you. But by saying no, you stop that cycle. You stop giving them the chance to hurt you over and over again. You regain control of your emotional space, and in doing so, you take back the power that they had previously held over you. In the end, saying no isn't just about protecting yourself from future hurt. It's about teaching the other person that you will no longer tolerate mistreatment. When you stop giving them access to your time and energy, you force them to realize what they've lost. And that's when you have the power to make them beg for you. This process isn't about revenge, but about protecting your peace and your well-being. It's about knowing your worth and making sure that the people in your life understand that they have to earn your time and affection just as much as you have to earn theirs. And trust me, when they realize what they've lost, they will come crawling back, and it will be up to you to decide whether they're truly worth another chance. When you decide to walk away, it's often perceived by the person who hurt you as a sudden and unexpected move. They may be accustomed to the idea that no matter what they do, you will always be there. They may believe that your love, your attention, and your forgiveness are things they can take for granted. But here's where the magic happens. By walking away, you hit them with something they never expected. It throws them off balance, makes them question their actions, and forces them to feel the pain of losing you. You've heard it said before, absence makes the heart grow fonder. That's exactly what happens when you walk away. The moment you create that space, you give them room to reflect on the relationship, on their behavior, and on what they stand to lose. It's like a jolt to the system. Suddenly, they can't take your presence for granted. The convenience of having you always available, always forgiving, always willing to make things work is gone. And with that absence comes the painful realization that maybe they didn't appreciate you the way they should have. They start to feel the emotional weight of your absence and begin to ask themselves questions they never considered before. Why did they leave? What did I do wrong? How could I have treated them better? Now, this is the point where things get interesting. They will start to feel desperate. They will wonder how they can fix things, how they can undo the damage they've caused. Their pride may keep them from reaching out at first, but deep down, they'll be struggling with the fact that they have lost something valuable. The beauty of this moment is that they are forced into a position where they have to reflect, grow, and come to the realization that they can't just keep treating you however they want and expect you to always be there to pick up the pieces. You are no longer an option they can take for granted. They have to work for your attention, your trust, and your love now. But here's the kicker. Don't be in a hurry to go back. As tempting as it might be to feel the need to repair the situation right away, this is where your power truly lies. By walking away, you have already made your point. You've shown that you are willing to prioritize yourself over someone who doesn't appreciate you. You've shown that you won't let their behavior slide and that you won't accept being treated poorly. Now, when they come back to you, as they most likely will, it's time for them to prove that they've changed. At this point, your worth has been established. You've made it clear that you aren't going to tolerate disrespect or mistreatment. They know that if they want to get back into your life, they will have to prove that they are worthy of your time, your affection, and your trust. They need to show you, not just say the words, but show through their actions that they understand the gravity of their mistakes. This is when the dynamic changes. No longer are you the one constantly giving, constantly forgiving, and constantly making excuses for them. Now, they are the ones who have to earn you back. It's also important to realize that walking away doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. The decision to leave someone who doesn't value you is an act of self-respect, not an act of defeat. It's a sign that you understand your own worth and that you won't settle for less than you deserve. When you walk away, you take back control of the situation. You are no longer at their mercy, waiting for their validation or their approval. You are confident in who you are and in the value you bring to any relationship. By making the bold move of walking away, you are also sending a message to yourself. You are teaching yourself that you are worthy of love, respect, and kindness. You are reaffirming your own boundaries, reminding yourself that your happiness should never depend on someone else's behavior. This act of walking away is one of the most powerful moves you can make, not only to show the other person the consequences of their actions, but to remind yourself that you don't need anyone who isn't willing to treat you with the respect you deserve. And here's something else to consider when you walk away. You allow the other person to experience the consequences of their actions in a way that no argument, no confrontation, no emotional plea could ever accomplish. It's through your absence that they truly realize what they've lost. You give them the opportunity to miss you, to reflect, and to regret. You've created space for them to grow, to learn, and to understand what their actions have cost them. Now, when they do come back, they won't be able to just pick up where things left off. They will be more aware of your value. They will be more aware of what it takes to keep you. And the beauty of this is that you will be in a position of power, not because you've manipulated them, but because you've had the courage to walk away. You've had the strength to prioritize yourself, to say no when needed, and to stand up for your own worth. And in the end, that is what will make them beg for you, not because you want them to, but because you've taught them that the only way back into your life is through true change and respect. When you make the decision to walk away, from someone who has hurt you, you're not just taking a physical step away from them. You're also taking an emotional step back, allowing yourself the space to heal and reflect. In that moment, when you choose to leave instead of continuously giving them another chance, you're sending a powerful message that you are no longer willing to tolerate disrespect, neglect, or mistreatment. But more importantly, you're showing them that you have a high value for yourself and that you won't settle for less than you deserve. This decision marks the point where you take control of your life and stop allowing someone else's actions to dictate your happiness. You've probably been in a situation where you felt unappreciated, where you gave more than you received, or where your feelings were taken for granted. Many of us have been there. We've invested our time, energy, and love into a relationship only to find that the person we're with isn't reciprocating in a meaningful way. They may not be showing up emotionally, they may be careless with your feelings, or they may have hurt you in ways that left you broken. And even though deep down you know your worth, you might still find it hard to walk away because you're hoping that things will change or that things will go back to how they once were. But here's the hard truth: people rarely change unless they are forced to. And that's why walking away is so powerful. When you walk away from someone who isn't treating you right, you stop the cycle of hurt and neglect. You refuse to be the person who continually makes excuses for them, who accepts their broken promises, or who allows them to keep taking you for granted. Instead, you stand firm in your decision to prioritize your own emotional well-being over their temporary comfort. What happens when you make this move? You give them the opportunity to experience the consequences of their actions. They don't get to escape without feeling the weight of their mistakes. They don't get to continue on with their life as if nothing happened. No, now they are faced with the reality of your absence. And that's where the true impact begins. It's in that absence that they will feel the loss. They will begin to notice the space you once filled and realize just how much you contributed to their life. The quiet moments, the thoughtful gestures, and the emotional support, they will all be gone. And that's when they'll start to panic. See, the reality is that when people are used to having someone around, they don't truly appreciate what that person brings to the table until they are gone. It's not until you remove yourself that they start to realize how much they've taken for granted. That's the beauty of walking away. You've taken yourself out of the equation, leaving them with the cold, hard truth of what they've lost. Now, this isn't about making them feel bad for their actions. It's not about punishing them. It's about giving them the space to understand the consequences of their behavior. It's about showing them that you are not someone they can take for granted. It's about showing them that you're not someone who will stick around while they continue to hurt you. It's about reminding them that you are worth the effort, the respect, and the commitment. And that, if they want to continue to have you in their life, they will need to step up and make some real changes. As difficult as it might seem to walk away, understand that it's a necessary step in preserving your own self-worth. You can't keep giving someone the benefit of the doubt when they consistently show you that they don't value you. It's painful to walk away, but it's even more painful to stay and be treated as if you're not worthy of the love, care, and respect you deserve. By leaving, you are making it clear to yourself that you won't accept a life of disappointment and hurt. You're choosing to move forward, to heal, and to create space for someone who will appreciate you in the way you deserve. And the truth is, they might not immediately realize the depth of their mistake. They might not understand right away the impact of your absence. But as time goes on, as they are left with the quiet and the emptiness that comes from losing someone who truly cared, they will begin to understand. They will begin to feel the weight of your absence, and they will regret the ways they treated you. They'll start to miss the good things you brought to their life, the kindness, the support, the laughter, and the love. When you walk away, you're not just giving them a chance to regret their actions, you're also giving yourself a chance to grow, to heal, and to find the love and respect that you deserve. It's about making the decision to no longer settle for less than you are worth. You're showing them that you are not afraid to walk away from something that doesn't serve you, and that in doing so, you are reclaiming your power. And while they may not understand it in the beginning, in the end, they'll come to realize that losing you was the biggest mistake they ever made. When you walk away and choose to remove yourself from a situation or a relationship that no longer serves you, it's not just about the physical act of leaving. It's about reclaiming your sense of power and dignity. The key to understanding the power of leaving is recognizing that you are not doing this to punish the other person. Rather, you are doing it to honor yourself. You are telling the universe, and more importantly, yourself, that you deserve better. It's easy to get caught up in the cycle of trying to fix things, to keep giving chances, and keep hoping that things will get better. But when you realize that you have been giving more than you've been receiving, when you recognize that you've been compromising your own happiness to make someone else comfortable, that's when it's time to take a step back and reassess. One of the most painful parts of being in a relationship or situation where you're constantly hurt or unappreciated is the toll it takes on your self-esteem. Over time, you start to question your worth. You may think to yourself, if I loved more, maybe they would change. If I was more patient, they'd finally see me. But this kind of thinking keeps you trapped in a cycle of disappointment and self-doubt. And every time you give more of yourself and it's not returned, it only deepens the feeling that you're not enough. You start to feel as though your value is tied to someone else's approval or attention. But when you walk away, something incredible happens. You begin to realize just how valuable you truly are. You stop looking to the other person for validation, and you start looking inward. It's when you remove yourself from the toxic dynamics that you're able to see clearly again. You see the strength in yourself, the strength you forgot you had while you were trying to fix things that were never yours to fix. And here's the beautiful part. You start to rebuild your life on your own terms. No more waiting for someone else to change. No more hoping for something that may never come. Now, you are free to focus on your own growth, healing, and self-discovery. What's truly transformative about walking away is not the reaction it forces out of the other person. While they may eventually feel the sting of your absence and come to regret their actions, the real power of walking away is in how it changes you. You begin to understand that your worth isn't determined by someone else's treatment of you. You begin to realize that you are enough, just as you are, and that you don't need anyone to validate your existence. When you choose yourself, when you prioritize your own happiness, you enter a space of personal growth where you no longer tolerate anything that doesn't align with the love and respect you deserve. But it's not just about your own growth. Walking away teaches you an essential lesson in boundaries. By walking away from someone who has hurt you, you are setting a boundary that says, I will not accept being treated this way. You are showing the other person that their actions have consequences and that you will no longer enable their behavior. When people know that you will not tolerate mistreatment, they are forced to reflect on their actions. It becomes a wake-up call that they may not have expected. They may even try to get you back, but by that time, you will have learned your worth and no longer be willing to accept anything less than what you deserve. You may be wondering, isn't it cruel to walk away from someone who cares about you? The truth is, when someone truly cares for you, they'll understand why you left. They'll understand that you left not to hurt them, but to protect yourself. And if they don't understand, that's their issue to deal with, not yours. You can't fix someone who isn't ready to fix themselves. You can't heal someone who isn't open to healing. You can't make someone value you when they don't even value themselves. Walking away isn't about being vindictive. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about standing up for yourself when you realize you've been settling for less than you deserve. There's something incredibly powerful about walking away with grace. When you do it with dignity, you leave with your head held high, knowing that you are in control of your own destiny. You're not giving them the power to dictate your happiness any longer. You're not letting them decide your self-worth. You are making the conscious decision to move forward, to take charge of your own future, and to leave behind everything that no longer serves you. And in doing so, you show them the best thing they could have had was right in front of them, and now it's gone. The truth is, when you leave, you force them to realize that they had something real. They may not fully appreciate it until you're gone, but when they realize what they've lost, they'll be left with a sense of emptiness. They'll be left to face the consequences of their actions. They may come back and beg for your forgiveness, but by then you will have moved on. You will have built a life for yourself that doesn't depend on someone else's approval. And when you've done that, you'll find the peace that comes from knowing that you are strong enough to let go of what no longer serves you and make space for the love and respect you truly deserve. When you walk away from a relationship or situation that no longer serves you, it's crucial to understand that this act is not only for your benefit, but also an essential moment of self-respect. Walking away is not an impulsive decision or a reaction to immediate pain. It is a strategic choice that comes from a place of self-awareness. You're sending a message not just to the person who hurt you, but also to yourself. It's about finally recognizing that you deserve more than what you've been receiving. It's about finally claiming the respect and love that you've been withholding from yourself for so long. This is not a decision made in anger, but in strength. It is the acknowledgement that you are worthy of being treated with kindness, love, and care, and that you will no longer settle for anything less. This is not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about making the conscious choice to prioritize your happiness and being over the comfort of someone who has taken you for granted. When you choose to walk away, you are in fact reclaiming your own power, your own peace of mind, and your own sense of worth. The most powerful thing you can do when someone has hurt you is to simply remove yourself from the situation. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of trying to fix things or making excuses for the other person's behavior. You might think, maybe if I give them more time, they'll change. Maybe if I love them harder, they'll see my value. But what you need to realize is that this mindset only perpetuates the cycle of disappointment and pain. No amount of love or patience can change someone who is not willing to change themselves. In fact, the more you try to fix things, the more you lose sight of your own needs and desires. By walking away, you stop enabling their behavior and stop giving them the power to dictate your emotional state. You take control of the situation and free yourself from the pain and frustration of hoping for a change that may never come. The act of walking away forces both parties to confront the truth that this relationship or situation is no longer serving either of you in the way it once did. It forces the other person to take a hard look at their actions and consider what they've lost. And in turn, it allows you the space to heal, grow, and rediscover who you truly are without the weight of someone else's unfulfilled promises. One of the most profound effects of walking away is the opportunity it provides for personal growth. When you're constantly in a toxic or unfulfilling relationship, it's easy to lose sight of your own worth. You begin to think that your happiness is tied to the other person's actions and decisions. You forget that you are capable of finding joy, love, and fulfillment on your own terms. Walking away from someone who hurts you forces you to reconnect with your own value. It allows you to rediscover your passions, your strengths, and your capacity for self-love. You stop looking outside of yourself for validation, and instead, you turn inward. This period of self-reflection and healing is crucial because it helps you rebuild your confidence and sense of self-worth. It teaches you that you are enough just as you are, and that you do not need anyone's approval to feel whole. As you focus on your own growth, you begin to attract better things into your life, better opportunities, better relationships, and a better version of yourself. Another essential aspect of walking away is the boundaries it sets for future relationships. It sends a clear message that you will not tolerate being mistreated or disrespected. It teaches you how to establish and maintain healthy boundaries, which is key to protecting your peace and emotional well-being. By walking away from a person who has hurt you, you are demonstrating that you value yourself enough to say no to behavior that doesn't align with your standards. This is a crucial step in creating a life where you are no longer willing to accept anything less than what you deserve. When you respect your own boundaries, you set the tone for how others will treat you. You teach people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself, and you set the expectation that only those who show you respect and appreciation will be allowed into your life. This act of walking away becomes a powerful tool for creating a future where you attract healthy, loving, and respectful relationships, and where you no longer settle for anything less. There's a certain strength that comes from walking away with grace and dignity. It's not about seeking revenge or trying to prove a point. It's about showing the other person that you are strong enough to stand on your own and to walk away from a situation that no longer serves you. It's about taking responsibility for your own happiness and realizing that no one else can define your worth but you. When you leave with grace, you don't look back in anger or regret. You simply walk away knowing that you are doing what's best for you. You may not always get the apology or closure you want, but walking away with dignity gives you the closure you need. It gives you the peace of mind that comes with knowing that you made the right choice for yourself, regardless of what the other person thinks or feels. Lastly, when you walk away from someone who has hurt you, it's not about abandoning them or making them suffer. It's about recognizing that sometimes the best thing you can do for both yourself and the other person is to step away. When you leave, you force them to face the consequences of their actions. They are left to confront the reality that they have lost someone who cared for them, someone who was willing to invest in the relationship. This realization can be a powerful wake-up call. They may come to regret their actions and even try to win you back, but by that time, you will have moved on. You will have healed and grown, and you'll no longer be willing to go back to a situation that doesn't honor your worth. Walking away doesn't mean that you have given up. It means you have chosen to prioritize yourself, and that is the most powerful decision you can make.